Halo 4 marked a turning point for the franchise, crafted by a new studio stepping into legendary shoes. But its path from a rough pre-alpha to release was a short but incredible process with tons of cut content. Join me as we uncover the journey that shaped Halo 4 into a defining moment in gaming history, for better or for worse. To kick this off, we start with the earliest build of Halo 4 I have. This is from September of 2011 on a completely cut map called Forerunner City. I couldn't find anything in Halo 4 that resembles this map at all, so that's why I think it's fully cut. We can see that a lot of this map is still in a blockout phase, so I think this was just abandoned at this point. And also, a lot of this build still has a lot of placeholders left from Halo Reach. And also the performance of this map is kind of janky, so I sped up this clip a little bit, so if there's any weird frame pacing issues, that's why. Here's a super quick fly through of this map on a Banshee I found. Here's a very work in progress look at the loadout system that was being built for Halo 4. A lot of the weapons are still locked behind the Spartan point system that 343 decided to switch over to from the credit system from Halo Reach. And even the modification section was added, which are kind of like perks from Call of Duty. And also a work in progress look at the ordnance system too. What's interesting is that there's still a lot of leftover from Halo Reach, including the ability to switch to elites, but anytime I tried to, my game would just instantly crash, unfortunately. That build that was just shown off was actually from October 4th, but we also have a build from October 20th. This one contains a couple more maps and a better forge mode where I can actually spawn weapons and show you what the weapons look like in development. The first map that caught my eye was a map called Bloody Gulch, and you're not gonna guess what loads up when it finishes. And boom, welcome to Bloody Gulch, aka just plain old Valhalla from Halo 4. Excuse the weird looking player model, it's gonna be happening throughout this entire clip. I don't know why, but this is the concussion rifle in its very early development phase. And now here's some more weapons. This is the DMR. It's pretty close to the final version of what the DMR looks like in Halo 4, but the auto does sound a little bit different, and I actually kind of prefer it compared to the final version. Here's an armor pickup called the Stasis Field, but anytime I try using it, it just kind of bugged out my game and locked my character in a weird stance in third person. I thought it was kind of funny, so I decided to leave it in. And again, here's where we start seeing some more of Halo 4's user interface come through. The loadout screen is a lot more refined in this build, and you can actually switch between them and choose whichever loadout that you have. Now this is where it gets kind of interesting. There's a vehicle called the Hawk. I think it might be an earlier version of the Mantis, but anytime you try to get into it, it kind of messes up your player model, so you can't really see it, and the default model is just a regular mongoose. The reason why I think this is an early version of the Mantis is because of the weaponry on this vehicle is pretty much the same as the Mantis, except the laser beams, those are not in the final version. It's a chain gun in Halo 4. Unfortunately, a lot of the weapons in this build don't actually work. Anytime you try to place them down, they just kind of disappear and you can't pick anything up, so. One really cool gun is the Stasis Rifle. There really isn't anything in Halo 4's final version that resembles this, so I think this is just a completely cut weapon. Whenever you walk through it, it slows the player down. It's sad to see that this was cut from the game, because I think this would be a really sick mechanic to play around with. There is also this thing called the spread gun. I think this is just a standard early version of the scatter shot from Halo 4. And here's a quick little fly around of the map. And now we enter the beta phase. This is the Halo 4 network test for May of 2012. This is a couple months before the game actually released. We can see that the user interface is pretty similar to what the final game is going to look like, except for the Forge section, which still looks like it's still in development. This version still has some placeholders from Halo Reach, including this Spartan viewer on the right side. Unfortunately though, this is the last remnants of Halo Reach from Halo 4. And here is a close to final version of the map Adrift. You can see that a lot of the assets are fully arted out here, and it looks pretty similar to the final released version. Including everyone's favorite vehicle from Halo 4, the Mantis, or as I like to call him, the Giga Mantis. One interesting thing is that there's like the armor lock pickup still in the game files, and when you use it, it kind of just makes like a weird like stasis circle. I don't know if this is used at all in the final version of the game. Maybe in like the repair field, but I don't know. There's also a bunch more leftover armor pickups from Halo Reach that correspond to some of the armor pickups from Halo 4. Here are some Forerunner weapons that are in the game, starting with the Bolt Shot. It's a little bit different than the final game. It looks like it has like an area of effect ability that's not in the final game. And the Scatter Shot is like super scattery, for lack of a better term. But everything else kind of seems like it's aligned with what the final game shipped with. And that brings us to the final release version of Halo 4. Halo 4 released November 6th of 2012. Thank you for tuning in to the second episode of From Concept to Release. I hope you guys enjoyed this behind the scenes look at Halo 4. If there's any games you'd like to see me cover in a future episode, please let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video. It helps a lot more people uncover fascinating stories behind games like Halo 4 and supports the channel so I can keep bringing you guys content like this. Thank you.